It's The Local Show on News Radio 570 WSYR, a service of Geddes Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It's The Local Show, the 2023 early summer edition. I'm your host, Tom Soccocio Jr., along with my friend and co-host, Steve Roberts. The Local Show features conversations about local businesses. We talk about how they got into business, and we talk with the business owners, CEOs, CFOs, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, business advocates, and other business-friendly organizations. Now, we learn how they got into that business and why they do business right here in Syracuse, New York, and where their businesses might be going in the future. You're going to hear all about their successes, challenges, opportunities, marketing, and advertising. We're broadcasting from the Zoey Advertising Studios, sponsored by Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. We say a hearty, healthy, good pre-summer morning to Steve
What
Roberts.
a warm week. I'm loving it, Tom.
Yeah, lots of warmth.
It is. This is my happy place.
Yeah.
Weather-wise, somebody asked me, do you like the change of seasons? I said, yes, except the white one. If it went like spring, fall, summer, I'd be great.
Yeah, as long as it changes, to more warm weather.
Yeah, I just can't stand the cold.
It is really nice. You know, and,
you enjoying the summer? You out working in the yard? You tearing up everything?
The lawn got really dry really fast. It went from, moist and very lush green to now all of a sudden people got the sprinklers out.
Yeah,
fast.
we had a couple hanging baskets on our little patio.
Yeah.
Like 2 days.
Yeah, you got to water.
I was
burst into flames.
Seriously, they really did. And it faces south, so that patio, so the sun's hitting it, all day.
As you know, I got the whole house ripped apart from stem to stern, and I'm trying to work with some clients and local people and all that. So I'll keep you apprised.
Well, I was up there. I took your son hostage there last week, and we went and did some photography. I love having him. He's a good kid, and he wants to know. He's very curious, and I think doing photography in video, being curious is the key.
A good thing.
And he's like, "What about this?" And what if this happens? And it was great.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for a better 16-year-old son. After having the girls, if I would have had him first, I would have never had girls.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you had the choice.
I know, but I would like to have had that. Hey, Lynn High's going to join us today. She's the Chief Development Officer at Food Bank of Central New York, and then Rich Lester will stop by. He's the CEO of Z-Bart. Michael Sheets is the executive chef at Clear Path for Veterans. We talked with them, the executive director, a while ago, so now we're going to talk with the chef. John Kupperman stops by, owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. Dave Knapp, Onondaga County legislator and Onondaga County Agriculture Council co-chair. Well, he's got all sorts of titles.
There you go.
He'll stop by. And then our old friend Mike Otis, who I went through the Gulf War with. He was doing reports from the plane or the copter.
There you go.
Back then. And then Dr. Richard Malera, owner of Malera Eye Care and Eye Spa, will stop by and round us out. So now we say hearty, healthy good morning to Lynn High.
Good morning, guys. What's going on?
See, all sorts of stuff. You're not doing anything at your house, are you? You getting a remodel or anything?
No, not this year. We've done it for several years leading up to this year, so we're taking the summer off.
It's like you pull your hair out during those times, Everything's
you talking to me, Tom?
You don't have any hair to pull.
Why do they always have to pick on the ball?
You don't have any hair to pull. Hey, Lynn, you're all over the radio. People probably know your story, but Food Bank of CNY does so many great things. Why don't you just recap and tell people where you came from and how you came to be at the food bank?
Sure. So I started and I went to school in Buffalo, got a sports management degree, worked for the Buffalo Sabres because that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a nonprofit, but I did a lot of events for the Sabres.
I see.
And we met my husband in Buffalo, and I'd like to say I imported him back to Syracuse because this is where I grew up.
Was he a hockey player?
He was not.
Okay.
Were you a hockey player? Did you ever skate?
No, I can skate. I never played hockey. My brother played my entire life. I grew up in a rink.
Oh, did you?
Yes,
Yeah.
and he's still at, how old is he, 50? 50. Yeah, he's 50. He still referees.
No
so
kidding.
he's actually, when there was the whole hubbub last fall with the hockey referees and how much they were getting paid and everything, he was the guy that was doing all the media interviews.
Tom and I
things
missed
like
that because we don't follow hockey.
Yeah, okay.
There was no hubbub for Tom. Tom, did you catch the hubbub?
No.
Okay.
My wife does. She loves hockey. She went to Oswego State and really got into it up there,
Yeah. So this was all like high school. It was like all the high school sports referees and things like that. So he's still very involved in hockey.
So how did food meet hockey?
Yeah.
Food met hockey. Just when I came back to Syracuse, there was a job for an event coordinator at Salvation Army, actually, here in Syracuse. So I applied and got that position and kind of started my life in the development world.
Wow.
Now here I am.
It takes a special person to be able to do that. And you're one of those people who your hair is never on fire. Or if it is, nobody knows about it.
Oh, I think sometimes my staff knows.
You're so calm. Now, you brought in a couple of things that are making me really shaky, and people can see it on the YouTube channel.
It's because you went to parochial school?
Yes, I did. And my mother, when I was 15, chased me around the house with these wooden spoons because I'm full Italian. So,
Didn't say food bank on it, did it?
No, it didn't. But these are really nice.
That's a bad branding.
But she did stir the sauce. Sometimes she would take it out of the pot and the sauce would still be on there.
So what do we got? We got some sauce.
We have
and
some new. Yeah. So I brought in the spoons to go with the food bank's new private label venture. It's called Pantry Classics Pasta Sauce. So it's actually made locally here by Giovanni Foods out in Baldwinsville.
Yeah.
And really, this kind of came out of COVID and the COVID shutdown when we needed so many millions more pounds of food.
Right.
And we would have food on order, and all of a sudden, different food items our orders would just be canceled. But we still needed to get food out into the community. So what we did is we were like, well, we are friends with Lou Dement that owns Giovanni Foods.
Absolutely, we're friends of the show. Lou's been on with us.
And let's see if we could do our own private label sauce. And the private label sauce, really, the first intention of it is to make sure that we always have a very high quality, delicious sauce available for the food pantry, soup kitchens, and everybody to give out and get out to people that are facing food insecurity and that are dealing with hunger. So then once we kind of got all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, our director of procurement called me up and he's like, do you think we could get this on store shelves? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So we called up our good friends at Tops and Wegmans.
Yeah.
And of course they jumped on. And since then, Price Right has jumped on.
Fabulous.
And possibly, actually the Big M in DeRuyter is going to carry the sauce.
So sales of this obviously go back to the food bank because it came from the food bank.
Right, came from the food bank. It completely supports the food bank. It's a really great sauce. It's a pretty high quality sauce.
Yeah.
The taste is delicious. And with every purchase, you're supporting the work of the food bank. So what better way? If you're going to buy a jarred sauce, get Pantry Classics pasta sauce.
Wow. And what's the main mission of the food bank again, so that people know? So
we provide nutritious food in an 11-county service area, Central New York, Northern New York, the Mohawk Valley, to food pantries, soup kitchens, emergency shelters, other programs, so that people who are experiencing hunger can access healthy and nutritious food right in the communities where they live and work.
And if people want to donate? Foodbankcny.org. We take money, we take monetary, of course, that's money.
Bitcoin?
I can take Bitcoin, yes. But non-perishable food donations and volunteers as well.
Excellent. As usual, you've done a wonderful job. Lynn High right there. Thank you so much for joining Steve and I, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Chief Development Officer at Food Bank of Central New York, foodbankcny.org. Rich Lester is going to go, don't throw the spoon. Rich Lester.
I couldn't help it.
Is going to go Rust, CEO of Z-Bart, coming up next on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, Locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back and welcome in. You found the local show, the best bit of radio you'll ever hear, right here on 570 WSYR and 106.9 FM. I'm Tom Soccocio Jr., Creative Director at Zoey Advertising, along with my friend Steve Roberts, who is the owner of Zoey Advertising and sometimes, empties the trash and cleans the dishes.
This week. I did all of those things, Tom. I woke up early this week and I got here at about 10 after 5.
Yeah.
I think it was. And there's lots of things to do. I know you're just going to sleep at that point.
Yes, I liked it. No, not anymore. I can't do it. No. Just, early to bed and late to rise.
When I wake. It doesn't matter. I'm awake.
It's like, bing. Yep. Yeah, your brain starts ticking and you can't get back to sleep.
Yeah, yes. Yes,
and I know all that time in the morning you're thinking, what can I say about Geddes Federal Savings and Loan that makes sense?
Well, here's what I know. I don't have to write it down because they're an amazing organization.
Yes.
If you're doing some things around the house, you're going to fix up the house, you want to borrow money off the house, talk to the folks at Geddes. Or maybe the stock market's got you down a little bit, and maybe you're old like you and I, Tom, and you don't want to take that risk. They got great CD rates.
Yeah.
And they're just genuine local people. They're not a faraway place. So if you fall into any of those categories, get it at Geddes, GeddesFederalSavingsAndLoan.com. Tom?
It is my pleasure to bring back Rich Lester, who's the CEO of Z-Bart, and he's right here in the studio with us right now. Get on the YouTube channel and you can see how good looking this young man is.
Well, good morning, Tom and Steve.
How are you, Rich?
I'm doing great. I'm doing particularly well because we just finished a great conversation about fishing, which the weekend and the upcoming weather lend itself very well to.
Yeah. Now, you live up on the lake?
I do. It's credit to my grandfather. When I was young, my grandfather took me fishing and my brother fishing, and so I named my boat after the boat that he had back in 1965. And it's just a joy to be able to walk out the back door, get on a boat, and be fishing in literally 5 minutes from walking out the back door.
Isn't Oneida Lake, and I've said it 100 times, but don't you think that Oneida is such a blessing for this area?
It really is. There's a lot of that's a great fishery. I went to the Oneida Lake Association annual meeting about 2 weeks ago, and it was just incredible to learn all the statistics that the Cornell research people put together on the fish populations. I got a chance to reconnect with some people that I used to fish with a lot. It was just a good group of people, and bodes well for the future.
Don't you feel that boating keeps you young?
I do.
It keeps you active.
I'd like to think that my entire lifestyle keeps me young. Okay?
That's why Tom sold his boat.
Yeah. Well, you have to at some point. Well, look, Rich, how'd you get into the Z-Bart business?
Actually, I started washing cars for minimum wage in 1973, okay? And because I came from a farm background, I had a work ethic that was required with farm work, and that brought me to the attention of the then owner, who gave me an opportunity to become an equity partner after 5 or 6 years, and he and I went on to buy several other businesses. At one juncture, I had the Z-Bart in Buffalo, Rochester, Binghamton, Syracuse. I've sold some of those. Now I have Utica, Albany, Syracuse, and Cicero, as well as the body shop in Brewerton. So, it's a life.
Yeah. So what is Z-Bart for people who don't know?
It's a franchise business that does automotive aftermarket services. This time of year, the service that is in the most demand is the detailing, because the Syracuse winters take a toll. And of course, we have 2 seasons. We have winter and road construction season. Right. So we have a couple of products. One is the ceramic coating, and we have a paint correction system that is, it's a patented system. We use certified technicians that are trained on the use of this equipment, and we can take a car that's 2 or 3 or 4 years old and get rid of all the scratches, all the oxidation, any of the bird damage, and make the car look brand new again, and then seal it in with a hard shell ceramic coating so the car looks like it has a half an inch of glass on it. You never have to wax it, and it looks brand new for the duration of your ownership. Wow. And there's a very high demand for that product right now, and I have some excellent technicians.
Excellent. That I wish you could do that for my body. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Shellac me all up.
Yeah, I don't think it'll work for you.
Steve, you might want to try that on your vehicle there.
Yeah, well, my
Then
vehicle.
you could sell it.
Well, you know what? I keep things.
Yeah, it's true.
I tend to do that. My truck's got almost 180,000 miles on it, but that's me.
Yeah.
Now does Z-Bar exist in like the Carolinas? Nobody has rust there, right?
It's not as prevalent. See, when a car is made, they don't say this one's going to Syracuse, give it an extra shot of juice. Okay, so the same car they sell here, that's mass manufacturing, is the same car that is sold in Arizona or the Carolinas.
Yeah.
And the way the manufacturers address that, there's a factory warranty that covers rust as a result of a manufacturer's defect, but they specifically exclude corrosion caused by the environment or road salt, which in this part of the country is why cars rust. So our new car warranty covers rust through anywhere for any reason for as long as you own it, and it's a full repair warranty.
Wow.
Because of the amount of salt that Syracuse puts on its road, it's a very corrosion-prone area. And so when you look at the impact on the resale value of a vehicle, you spend a few $100s protecting it from rust, but 5 or 6 years from now, there's probably a $4,000 to $5,000 difference between fair and excellent condition when you sell or trade your vehicle. So it's an investment that pays off. You can't guarantee that in the stock market, but you can with the resale value of your car.
Plus, it looks better.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, just all the way around. When you say you do detailing, do you do detailing on the inside of the car too?
Yeah.
So you guys
we shampoo the seats and rugs, scrub and dress the dash and trim, clean the glass, polish the door jambs, so the inside looks brand new. We all drag road salt into the driver's area throughout the course of the year and the winter certainly. And so a lot of people like to refresh their car after a year's worth of driving. So this time of year, that's an extremely prevalent high demand service. In the fall, getting your car rust proof prior to the winter. Yeah. A lot of people don't have that consciousness when it's 90 degrees outside, but when that first snowflake falls, then you realize, hey, winter's coming, time to protect my car from rust.
Do you have a package where people could buy like 3 or 4 detailings at once, or do you have to come in?
No, yeah, you can. Some people do, but if you have Mother's Day, Father's Day, there's a number of occasions where detailing is a very popular.
Father's Day is just around the corner.
That
would be a great gift. I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
Because Tom drags a lot of everything into his car: lunch, dinner, coffee.
I had a tuna wrap the other day. I got to tell you, in the
car, in the truck.
Yes, and I thought, you know what? This is easy. I'll put a napkin around the end of it, and I'll be fine.
How'd it go?
Right. I took one bite, and all the juice and stuff went all over my shirt. I looked like an idiot.
Well, the package that we offer to new car customers includes the undercoating for the most vulnerable area of the car, the rust protection for the upper body panels. Right. Then we have a fabric and leather protector for the inside, and then the paint sealant for the outside. So that way the entire vehicle is protected. And when someone appraises the car, 5-6 years from now, when the loan is finally paid off, there's going to be a significant increase because we have warranties on all those services. So that as long as you take care of it mechanically, you're going to get a 3 or 4 fold return on your investment.
So we're about out of time. I need to hear that classic our rust thing from you before Tom closes.
Protect your car from the devastation of Syracuse rust. Z-Bar, it's us. Or rust.
There you go. Rich Lester, ladies and gentlemen, CEO of Z-Bar, right here on The Local Show. Thank you, Rich. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
All right. Michael Sheets is coming up next, executive chef at Clear Path for Veterans, right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We are back, folks. It's The Local Show with Tom and Steve. And if we're back, that means you are too. There you
didn't
go.
let me down.
Now you're catching on. Happy summer. Summertime. Summertime.
It is that time.
It's not officially summer, though, right?
Not quite.
This is the in-between time.
No, but record warmth this week had been awesome, and I'm loving it.
So the people that I've told you about building that pool in the back, they're already swimming. They got their kids back there screaming and yelling.
We used to have a plastic pool for the dog. You want me to bring it over and put it in the backyard and fill it with a garden hose?
Speaking of dogs, this coming week, Stan and Don are coming over, and we're going to do the dog fence finally.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
They work. I mean, Zoey never left the yard.
And we're really excited about it. And, folks, if you're standing in your backyard and you're looking around and you're enjoying the trees and the neighbors and all that stuff, you just don't want a stockade fence looking like, Fort Stanwix.
I think there's a place for a fence and there's a place to not have a fence.
Yeah.
But in case the listeners missed Stan and Donna Shane from Syracuse Dog Fence last week, we're talking and convinced Tom that he should have a dog fence. We had it. So, so if that is you, if you're considering that, there's some other national companies that do it. They're a local company, some American-made products. Right. It is Syracuse Dog Fence. I know their number, Tom. I don't have to look. I know
call Stan directly.
Call Stan, 415-5555. Maybe it's because it's simple. That's why I know it. But get a quote on your dog fence. They really do reasonable. They reasonable and they're just nice people. Yeah. SyracuseDogFence.com.
Kelly's getting 3 collars, 2 for the dog and 1 for me.
Hey, there we go. She should.
And when she says take out the trash, I get a little correction.
You got it.
It's our pleasure right now to bring on Michael Sheets. He's the executive chef at Clear Path for Veterans. If you haven't been over to Clear Path for Veterans, you don't know what you're missing. That place is just gorgeous over there in Chittenango. And they even let Steve in every once in a while.
Tom, he brought food.
He brought food.
So for those YouTube folks are looking at this delight right now. So if you can imagine this lovely cut of beef, pork.
It's beef brisket.
A little slider sandwich. So
it's really nice. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you. Are you a Syracuse native? Are you from around here? Or?
So I'm actually from Central New York. Born and raised in Auburn.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's great. You go to Auburn High School?
I went to Auburn High School. My parents bought a house in Jordan my senior year.
Yeah, very nice place.
Finished up over there.
Did you swim in the Owasco outlet?
Yes.
Okay, that proves that. Okay, just checking.
Yeah, my grandparents rented a house on the lake, so a lot of fishing.
You went to the
Merry-Go-Round Playhouse.
Yeah. Right, in Springside Inn.
Emerson Park.
Emerson Park.
I played baseball up there my whole life, so.
Very good. Yeah, I got a wedding reception coming up there.
My grandparents are buried right there on the circle, the cemetery.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. My dad was from Auburn. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah,
well, that's interesting. Steve info right there.
There we go.
For Steve Bingo. Clear Path for Vets. It's clearpath4vets.com if you want to check out their website. What got you into cooking? Have you been a chef all your life, or did you train?
So, my father was in the Marines as a cook.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so my father was a cook in the Marine Corps.
Did they call him Cookie?
I don't know. I don't know much about his time in the Marine Corps, but my dad, Skinny Atlas native, came back after the Corps and got a job at Auburn at Cameron's Bakery.
Yeah, sure.
And so I kind of been sitting on flour bags since I was a little boy. And it was something I never wanted to do, and I stumbled in a kitchen to help a friend out for a weekend and at a Wasco Country Club in Auburn.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And, learned how to break down ducks and rabbits and all this fun stuff. And it was something that really piqued my interest, and I kind of ran with it. And,
Very good.
16 years later, I'm sitting here,
No kidding. Did you get formal training at all?
I did. After the season ended at Owasco Country Club, I went to Le Cordon Bleu in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I wanted to get as far away from my parents as I could.
Yeah.
So I'll interrupt Tom, a little more trivia.
Yes.
I lived in Scottsdale.
Yes.
When I was a kid, till I was 3 years old, born in Phoenix, and then my parents moved back here.
Yeah.
So this is my roots. Scottsdale.
And now with the statute of limitations, I think you can go back. You might be able to go back.
Visit. So you got formally trained?
Yes, yep. And so I spent my time out there. I came back And then I moved down south. That's where I learned a lot of my southern flares. I went to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I spent some time down there.
My wife loves Knoxville. She's toured that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a beautiful. And then I have 4 kids and a wonderful fiance. Yeah, and she got homesick, and we came back home, and and here I am with ClearPath.
How long have you been at ClearPath?
2 years. 2 years.
Is that where you learned to cook this brisket that is delicious that I'm eating right now?
No, actually, I learned it down south. Smoking,
Right.
all that stuff. Southern barbecue is just.
So, what's the goal up there of the culinary division of ClearPath? What do you guys strive for?
That's a good question. So, I would say the biggest thing is. Bringing people together, bringing the sense of camaraderie, a place to come and feel comfortable, safe, and enjoy a great meal. We're not just serving sandwiches; we're serving briskets. Prime rib dinners.
Wow.
And just bringing people together. I mean, a lot of great memories are shared at a dinner table. Mm-hmm. I mean, and.
Talk to us about the June 17th Red, White, and Blue Barbecue. What is that all about?
So Red, White, and Blue Barbecue is our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's a huge. It started as a pig roast, and last year I did like a smokehouse style. This year we're gonna go a little Southern Creole. Pay homage to my Southern roots that I picked up for a little while.
Wow.
So we're going to have a crab boil this year. That's like our feature. We're going to do crab boil with shrimp and potatoes and andouille sausage. We're going to have the John Bates Band will be there playing music all day. Amy from 93Q will be emceeing the event. And then we'll have an experience tent where we'll talk about our canine program and some of the other things that we do.
Yeah.
There'll be demonstrations of what the service dogs do. We'll have a tasting tent from some local beer and wine and
So
spirit
it's open to everybody.
It's open to the public. Yes, it's open to the public.
Yeah.
Tickets are $50.
Yeah.
And then for the tasting tent, it's an extra $20. But I think there's about 6 different vendors.
And it's a fundraiser, so you're
Right,
going
yeah,
and
right.
you're of course
giving.
getting some good food and some things, but it's a fundraiser. So Saturday, June 17th. Starts at 4, so go out early and stay late.
Right.
I'm imagining, right?
Yeah, yep. Stay as long as you want and come out and see this beautiful campus we have. We also have
Is the golf course still there?
The golf course is not still there,
okay.
unfortunately. But we do have a silent auction tent.
Okay.
A lot of great stuff. You can actually get a private dinner with me. So yeah, you can hit on that. It'll be fun.
Okay, so here's what I know. Does it mean you make it or just eat with you?
Yeah, no, I would work with you along the way, figure out what you want, and we would
You'll make it,
Yeah, we'll
okay.
make a dinner from
Because the food up there is delightful. This brisket is he's
like
just
a local Guy Fieri. Very nice. Hey,
So ClearPath for Vets, ClearPath, the number 4vets.com. There's information there too.
Correct. You can find it on our website.
Absolutely.
wonderful to meet you, Michael, and you do a great job up there, and God bless you and the whole staff. Okay, man?
Yes, sir. Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.
You too. Michael Sheets, executive chef at ClearPath for Veterans. Coming up next, we're going to talk with John Kupperman. He's the owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. Stick around for that right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Here we are back again, and we're so happy that you spent some quality time with us here on The Local Show, because especially when the weather gets better, Steve, people have other things to do. And the fact that they're listening to us and
while they're doing other things, just to be clear,
a little bit. Well, of course, who just sits and does nothing and listens to a podcast other than my 25-year-old.
We used to, you and I, in our youth,
Yes.
used to sit and listen to music.
Oh yeah, there was that,
Speaker,
of course.
drop the album, and we're like, oh, listen.
Yeah.
And you'd play with the equalizer, and you'd sit there and you listen to the sound coming out of the
I
speakers.
can remember getting together with friends and buying records and putting the record on, and you would actually, undo the cellophane and do the, and then listen to a record. But
but we used to treat the record with some stuff that I forgot what it was called that would keep it from
some
scratching.
record cleaner. Yeah,
but it
like
had
an
a special
alcohol.
name. It was overpriced, whatever it was.
It's called record cleaner.
No, they had a fancy
Very
name.
technical.
You get it at Radio Shack. I used to sell it.
Not everybody could have worked at Radio Shack.
Oh, my goodness. Batteries and record cleaner. Well, there tain't no better man than the Cupper Man, and he's here with us right now. John Cupperman is the owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. How are you there, John?
Very fine, thanks.
You look kind of beachy. Were you on vacation or something? Did I miss that? Oh, you did.
You were talking about, having other things to do. I got the kayaks in the back of my truck. I got
kidding.
golf clubs.
You're a kayaking man.
Yeah.
Stand-up kind or sit down?
sit down.
Yeah, okay.
No, that's called a board, Tom. That's not a kayak.
It's a paddleboard, yeah.
It's not a stand-up kayak.
I've got a sit on and a sit in.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, for 2 people, we've got 4 kayaks.
They don't make one large enough for Steve. But,
I have a kayak. Mine's a pedaling kayak.
That's called a log.
No,
okay.
You've seen the pedaling kayaks.
Sure.
And no, they're fun to fish out of. And the longer the kayak, the easier it is to navigate. The little tub ones are like, forget about
And
it.
the sit on, much more stable.
Correct.
Very nice. Well, where'd you go that you took your
We were up in
kayaks?
Corinth.
I've
Which is
heard of that.
Saratoga area. It's way north.
Yes.
South of Glens Falls on the Hudson.
Okay.
And then we typically go down to Tully Lake.
Oh, yeah.
There's a launch there, and it's very pretty.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, Tully
And,
Lake's
you know,
wonderful.
and there's a part of Tully Lake where there's really no motorized boats.
Yes.
And there's reeds and fishing.
What was the lake before that? There's
Is it Shadrach?
No.
There's another Shackle.
Shack and Pond.
Oh,
is
that's
up
okay.
Up on Morgan Hill.
There's Little York. That was it.
There's a bunch of kettle lakes there.
Yeah, my father had a little place on Little York, and that's where we used to catch the pickerel.
Oh, okay.
A lot of pickerel in that place. But Tully's just gorgeous.
Do people from Tully's shop at Smith's Restaurant Supply on
I would
Erie
suspect,
Boulevard
yes.
across from Texas Roadhouse? Do they do it?
Everybody from everywhere shops at Smith's.
So how's business been?
It's been really great, actually. I couldn't be more pleased with the way everything's working out. And if I had only known that it was going to be so good leaving, hate to say it, downtown.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Who knew?
Yeah.
But it's just far busier.
Good.
So all good, knock on wood,
Do you sell wooden spoons?
I do.
Oh, you got really good industrial ones.
Yeah.
We had so a couple sets ago, Lynn High from Food Bank.
Food Bank,
was
yes.
here, and we have wooden spoons that say Food Bank on them now.
Okay.
And I threw one at Tom a couple sets ago.
Yeah, it's very nice.
But
It's
Tom
not that bruised.
They were a lightweight one. I want to get a big industrial one. Yeah.
We have them.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of other stuff. How's it been since some of these big box stores kind of went out that sold some of the stuff?
I would say helpful.
Yeah.
It was nice of them.
Yeah, so nice of them to leave.
Yeah. We are really the only independent kitchen supply, both not certainly on the retail end.
Yeah.
With Williams-Sonoma and Bed Bath gone, we're in a better position now.
And you have quality stuff.
Yeah.
Would that be safe to say?
Yeah,
I don't know.
In general, I don't like returns.
Right.
I
Which is
don't
a
want
good thing.
people buying something and then bringing it back and being unhappy with it. So, we try to have good quality products without being crazy priced.
Yeah.
How long is the line, now that you've mentioned knife sharpening on the local show a few times, does the line go down, or do they have to still go all the way out into Erie Boulevard?
I'm now asking people to come between 9 and 2 if they want us to do it right away, because those hours we're fully staffed sometimes.
We're talking about the knife sharpening.
Yeah, the
folks.
knife sharpening, yeah.
But they can leave them and come back and get them too.
They can. And I do ask them to avoid Sundays, because I'm there alone.
Oh, right.
And that can get wonky.
Are you scared?
No.
He's there
But,
alone, Tom.
it's just hard to wait on
coming
people
out,
and
yeah.
then sharpen knives and, grind coffee. I've only got 2 arms.
Yeah.
It gets really kind of, somebody brings in half a dozen knives and I'm like, okay.
But you like meeting the people. That's kind of your thing, right?
Oh, I love it. I mean, that's, if you do retail and you don't like people,
Yeah, forget
what
it.
do
Yeah,
where's your head at?
Right.
Being right out in front. I don't have an office.
Right.
I don't have a desk.
You're out there with the
I'm
products,
standing out in the front.
So if someone has had their head buried in the sand, Tom, for the last 140 years and haven't been to Smith's, what will they find?
everything you could imagine for household or commercial kitchen. I mean, and you know, we've talked about it before. We do coffee roasting. I still do the vintage china and glassware. We do things.
What's the hottest new piece of technology you got in there? Ooh. I know that's a loaded question, but
We just brought in uni ovens.
Uni, okay. Explain that. What's that?
Those are
Pizza ovens.
Pizza ovens
For outside.
Yeah, they create a pizza every 60 seconds.
Wait a minute.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Wait.
They cook at 1,000 degrees.
Wait.
That's like Carb Fest.
Okay. Wait, so you sell an oven
Yeah.
that Tom and I can make your basic pizza, stick it in there in 60 seconds. That pizza's done. I pull it out.
You're done. You're correct.
That's outside. And you use it for outside.
Yeah,
So
they're either come in propane or wood fired or coal fired. And these things, one will take a 12-inch pizza and the other will take a 16.
So is that just pizza? Or can it cook other things and like
Not
that?
at 1,000 degrees. I mean,
Yeah,
just
right.
What else? Everything else would incinerate, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would really. Yeah,
Boy,
they are designed.
I can't
for
do
pizzas.
carbs though, John. Golly.
And like
That's too much.
what is it? Cauliflower.
Oh yeah, that's right. We could do those. Yeah.
That's good.
Which bursts into
So uni.
flames at 800.
Yeah,
Uni.
Uni. You can go there and get those.
Yeah.
What other hot items are for summer?
Well, I mean, all things having to do with cold drinks and bar.
Okay.
I mean, barbecue supplies. These days, we're doing a huge amount of disposables: takeout containers, deli containers, portion cups, little Jello shots.
Yeah, that's
okay.
big.
We sell those.
That's the
little
stuff
portion-
Maine's used to sell that stuff,
Yeah.
right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a big change from downtown to DeWitt. Is we're doing a significant amount of that trade. But yeah, you know how many Jello shot things we sell?
That's kind of cool. And you got chafers and sterno and
Yeah, all that outdoor.
Fondue still a thing.
Not it goes in up in waves, and right now it's not a thing. Fondue.
I don't think I've ever had
It
fondue.
could be in a year. It comes like 3-year waves. But the outdoor chafers and cookers and things like that, big.
Everything up to Smith's Restaurant Supply right there on Erie Boulevard. That's John Kupperman, owner of Smith Restaurant Supply. Very approachable. He's got a very what was I going to say? Your voice is very recognizable.
You know, people do now recognize the voice.
Very good.
Oh, you're the fella on the radio
It's
show.
located
I was like,
across,
yeah, that's me.
across from Texas Roadhouse, not
Across from
downtown.
Texas Roadhouse.
There you go. Thank you so much, John, and get out there on a kayak. Keep kayaking.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Kicking off hour number 2 of the local show, we're going to have a conversation with Dave Knapp, Onondaga County legislator and Onondaga County Agriculture Council co-chair. Mike Otis stops by, battle-tested barbecue sauce, and an old broadcast professional here in Syracuse. And then Dr. Richard Malera is the owner of Malera Eye Care and Eye Spa. Stick around. Hour number 2 is just around the corner.
It's The Local Show on News Radio 570 WSYR, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Gettys Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back and welcome in. This is hour number 2 of the local show. Get ready for some engaging interviews with Dave Knapp, Onondaga County legislator and Onondaga County Agriculture Council co-chair. Mike Otis stops by, owner of Battle Tested Barbecue Sauce, and Dr. Richard Malera, the owner of Malera Eye Care and Eye Spa, will also stop by. And that's all in hour number 2. So it's going to be some riveting conversation if what's your name again? Steve gives them a chance to talk.
When are you going fishing with me, Tom?
Fishing with you.
Yes. You'd always weekends. You're
like
out doing
us
weddings. You do. Yeah. Like,
hanging together?
Yes.
I don't know.
Come on.
I'd have to get special dispensation.
Oh, my gosh.
No, we should. Well, actually, this next couple of weeks I'm off. We planned it this way.
We'll drag you over.
To do stuff. Yeah, I'd like to come over.
We typically go out Saturday and Sunday afternoons, generally speaking. So
yeah, that'd be nice.
I'll
bring the olives and the cheese.
There we go.
And we'll have olives and cheese and beer and fish.
And the dog will enjoy. You got to bring some protein for the dog somewhere.
That'd be nice. No, I'd like to catch some fish. I have not eaten out of Oneida Lake in a long time. And I say it's pretty safe still, right? You don't have to worry about mercury levels.
No, it's not. Onondaga Lake, you don't want to eat the fish out of there, but Oneida Lake, it's all good.
All right. Onondaga grown man. It's Dave Knapp. How are you, Dave?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I'm really interested in the ice spa. I can't wait to hear about that.
He's expanded because he's like, generally did eye care and all that, but now he's into the aesthetics too.
Yeah, eye spa. Yeah, that's interesting.
Change your eye color.
Maybe you could get rid of my bags. I don't know. Do that.
He had nothing.
So, Dave, you have a rich history around town and in politics and all that. You're one of the better people. I have about 5 politicians.
Thank you. Oh, appreciate that.
You're at the top of the list.
Nice. Put that on my resume. Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
So my family's been here a long time. So I'm from here. I'm Onondaga grown too, as we mentioned.
Good.
Yeah, my family came here in 1804, and we've been farming it here ever since. And so, yeah.
Is that why you got into politics? Is to kind of preserve things?
Well, I mean, a little bit. My family's my father was the town judge down in Lafayette for 42 years, and and so that kind of grew up with it a little bit. And my mother taught school at Lafayette for 46 years.
Oh, wow.
Kindergarten. So, we're very active in the community. And, of course, later in the year, we'll get together to talk about the Apple Festival. But my parents were part of the founding of that event and stuff. So it kind of... Yeah, you just got to
you're a military guy too.
Yeah, well, and then you go to West Point, and
we didn't go. Just to be clear, we go. That Tom and I were not invited to go to West Point. Just to be clear,
that's a big story. When you think about it, because you're not just hoeing and growing. You actually have an education behind you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and and down there they teach you. You're going to serve one way or the other. If you go do a career in the military, that's wonderful. But if not, go back home, serve your community, or wherever you end up, serve your community. And so I had a lot of factors pushing me to do what I do.
That's incredible, man.
So Onondaga grown. Oh, somebody says, okay, what's that all about? Tell us.
Yeah, so Onondaga Grown program is part of the Agriculture Council, and we created the Agriculture Council about 11 years ago, and the mission of that is to promote agriculture in the county, and several different ways through education of the community, promoting agriculture, helping projects get started. We've been able to award grants to the Brady Farm down here in Syracuse.
We just had them on the air.
Yeah, they're regulars.
We gave them the original grant to help them get going, $35,000. Yep, and we've done a lot with urban agriculture. The Martin Luther King School, we got them money to put in some raised beds, and tomorrow the kids are going to be planting for their spring planting. And I tell you, come fall when they come back, and they work on it over the summer, obviously, weeding and stuff. But just beautiful plants that they grow down there, and they're getting into hydroponics down there. We're getting them a little money to help with that. But we've been able to help a lot of folks. Get things done in the community. But the big thing was, especially with the Onondaga Grown program, which we're in our 9th year now, is to get people thinking about where their food comes from. And to support our county. We have a very unique county here, where we have a very large urban core. We've got the suburbs, and then we have some of the richest farmlands in the country.
I was going to ask you that. I mean, percentage-wise, we must have a large percentage.
And we're in the top 10 in literally every top 5 in several categories of agriculture in New York State, from dairy, beef, fruits and vegetables, obviously apples. One year we were number 1 in Christmas trees in New York State. Several years ago, and of course maple, honey, all those things. And so we have a really diverse, active agricultural base, and we want people to learn about that.
Tom, do you remember in school, did you grow a bean pod in a styrofoam cup as a kid?
In a styrofoam cup.
You planted this thing, and I don't know, but to me, I look back and go, that was so cool, and I got to watch it grow, and I was like, that can be food, and there's something.
You reap what you sow.
My son planted sunflowers this year, and they are coming up like unbelievable. And it's just, he gets such a rush out of looking at it. There's a 16-year-old boy looking at the plants coming up. I love plants.
Right,
I love a garden. I love it all.
Yep.
And agriculture is just such a big part of our fabric. So Onondaga Grown, a lot of people will say that Patty Bombardo was the person who made it what it is.
Well, no, absolutely. Patty's a wonderful job.
It's her passion, really.
Absolutely. And, we've partnered with them since the beginning. We, obviously we put out our request for proposals, and iHeart came back with a great package, and they've continued to. We have to, renew it every few years.
Sure.
And they continue to just do a wonderful job for us.
There's a lot of ears and eyes on iHeart.
Absolutely.
And we're excited that we're going to have the opportunity to interview every 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to have farmers from Onondaga County. Right on this show, we're going to get to know the people that are the creators of the food that we all consume.
Absolutely. What we found is really the best way to teach folks about agriculture is have them talk to the farmer himself.
Right.
And, hear their challenges, their successes, the whole 9 yards. To really appreciate especially on the dairy farming side, I mean, it's 24/7.
It really is.
Christmas is just another day to the cows. And, I grew up on a dairy farm, so I know. And, so it's really a labor of love. People aren't retiring to Palm Beach, in their 50s after doing this.
So when the summer's over, September 16th, On Farm Fest, briefly, tell us what's that.
So On Farm Fest, this is our 7th year for On Farm Fest. Obviously, we had a COVID, we couldn't do it in 2020. But that's kind of the culmination of our Onondaga Grown program. And the concept is we have right around 11 or 12 farms throughout the county, open for the day. It's a Saturday. And again, a dairy farm or two, a beef farm or two, vegetables, horses, the whole 9 yards. And the farmer opens up their farm, their location for you
to the general public.
Yeah, to the general public. Everything is free, although a lot of them have some food to purchase. So we've got
onondagagrown.com. A lot of information there.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Tommy.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dave. Have a great rest of the day. All right, man? Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Coming up next, another military guy. It's Mike Otis. He's the owner of Battle-Tested Barbecue Sauce, and he'll be right here on the show on 570 WSYR. Stick around.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
All right, back again. Here we are, Tom and Steve on The Local Show. Thank you for joining us and carving out a little special time on your summer. Not quite full summer, but we've had some great weather. It's been rather balmy. Actually, I was talking with my dad, who's in Georgia, Woodstock, Georgia, and my sister's in Alpharetta, Georgia, and they said that their highs were like in the 70s and 80s, low 80s, and here we were in the 90s in the week, so that's pretty good.
That's beautiful. Have you been there? You've been there.
Well, of course.
Yeah, you've been there a bunch of times.
Yeah, and I'll be going, again, we'll be going down to Florida and then, working our way back up.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is really nice. Yeah, my father loves it, and like I say, that constitutional carry ain't nothing like it. He goes out and then he keeps his, what was that buckshot in the gun, because like when he goes on the paths, sometimes you get those copperheads. So you have to kind of,
no, I like that. Yeah,
you got to be prepared. Let's put it that way.
No, what do you do in New York State?
Snake.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You die if the snake bites you.
I'm sorry.
You beat it with a stick. Oh my gosh.
Just saying.
It's sad. All right. Look, hey, we've got an old friend here. Now, I know why he probably came because of me. I'm just not sure why he came for you, but
He probably came for you. That's true.
We're old friends. Mike Otis here. He's the owner of Battle Tested Barbecue Sauce, and we go back a ways. We've done a
Quite
bunch
a ways,
of stuff.
actually.
Yeah, that's great. Mike, it's great to see you again.
You too.
Really
You too.
is.
It's great to be home.
And you know what? I tell the story all the time. I was really rattled during the Gulf War. I was on the air at WHEN and in the afternoons, and the one saving grace that we had was we were doing live broadcasts with you from the helicopter,
Right.
over in the Gulf.
Yeah, I was the lead media escort over there.
Wow.
So just to take care of all my media friends back here, I would phone in live reports just to keep everybody and their families up to date here because, a lot of people, they weren't getting the news out of there. So we were able to do that. So that was a lot of fun.
And it kind of calmed me down a little bit. Yeah, for a war.
Just to be clear, you were in a war zone. Tom was at a radio station, and you were calming Tom down. Let's just set that straight.
I was young, I was in my early 20s. He was in his late 50s.
And you're calm now.
Yeah, my late 50s, yeah. It felt like it.
Well, he's a little older.
But yeah, so I mean, it was an interesting time to be over there for sure. And I probably had one of the coolest jobs you can have in a war was a lead media escort. So I worked with Scott Pelley, Dan Rather.
Yeah.
Got to meet John Glenn. He came over. I was at every General Schwarzkopf briefing. I got to stand next to him for all the briefings. So, I mean, and my job was to keep the media safe. Mm-hmm. A couple times you wanted to shoot him yourself, but but for the most part, that was my job over there. So it was an interesting
How long were you
time.
there?
About 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
About
that's
6
enough.
months, so, yeah.
Now, but prior to that, when were you a weather guy?
Late 80s, early 90s, I did the morning weather when they launched the first morning news at Channel 9. So it was me and Dan Cummings to do 9 News Daybreak. So we did that for quite a few years.
What time did you have to get up to do that?
About 2:30.
Oh, golly.
Well, because I had to edit the entire. I was a news shooter and editor before that, so they figured, well, we'll let you do both. So get here at 2:30, edit the entire morning news. Yeah. If news broke, I had to go shoot it and get back in time to do the weather.
Yeah,
and we did that.
So how did you do broadcasting and serve 20 years in the military?
It was, being in the Air National Guard, it wasn't a full-time military position until I got activated. Right. And then once I got activated, my job was to inform the media. So it just kind of, and I got assigned to the shooters from CBS who actually did 48 hours and worked with Dan Rather and stuff. Jeez. And they were with a couple other guys before that were like very, the regulation says, and I'm like, okay, I'm a news guy. What do you guys want to do? And they're like, who is this guy? Let's go. So we just went out and they got some great shots, and we were probably one of the most covered units during the Gulf War out of anybody.
So how long were you in the reserve then?
I did 22 years with the. I was in the Air Guard in New Jersey when I first joined, full time as a military police officer, and then I came back to the 174th and did a total of 22 years.
Are you originally from Syracuse?
I am. I'm originally from my mom, but
right.
So that's
sorry. I just tried to get the little
So that's security forces in the Air Force, right?
For the Air Force security forces, and then I came back here and did a little combat camera while we were over there, and then public relations. So it tied in with working in the media and the PR stuff. So
I have a son wearing that title right now.
Really?
Yeah, he was in Japan 2 years, and now he's in Mountain Home, Idaho.
Well, a lot of combat going on there.
Let's put it this way. It looks like you might be moving. Well, that's what I know. So, and you know how that is.
Yep. Right. Oh, yeah. And a moment's notice.
Now, what made you want to go down to North Carolina?
I made parole from the snow 8 years ago.
There you go.
I'd been single for like 14 years. I'd gotten divorced and no plans on getting married. And I met somebody that, and all of a sudden we decided to get remarried, and I was running my ad agency here and doing mostly automotive stuff. Right. But the pie is pretty thin. I mean, a lot of people got a lot of pieces. So I just decided, time for a move. And I was actually looking at a public relations job in Alaska, in Anchorage, Alaska. And a video production job came up in Raleigh. Okay. Doing high-end video production for like Hendrick and Penske and big, top 5 dealer groups and national level stuff they were producing there. So I got hired as a writer-producer and went down there, and it worked out well because my wife is continually cold. You know, I mean, we got married. We went to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm kind of chill.
Most women are cold.
And I'm
a lot
like,
of the
Deirdre,
time.
I'm on the equator, babe. I can't do any better on the planet. This is it. You know,
Give me a sweater.
Here we go. So, but we ended up in Raleigh, and it's a great area. It's booming down there.
Yeah, it really
They're
is.
saying it's going to be the next Atlanta over the next 20 years. It's just growing so fast. But great place down there. But, you know, Syracuse in central New York is always home. And my mom is still alive. So
God bless her.
She's going to be 96 in August.
Whew.
And I got to see all my siblings over the weekend and family and in-laws and everybody.
So where did the barbecue sauce come from? Start talking to us about that a little bit.
It's a crazy story. Growing up, my dad made a barbecue sauce from a recipe he got from my grandmother. It probably came from like the late 1930s. You know, nobody bought anything. You made it yourself because of the Depression.
Right.
It just kind of stayed in the family. And then as I got older, I joined Boy Scouts. I was in Troop 139 in Liverpool. I don't even know if it's still around or not, but we'd go on camping trips. And I'd say to my dad, give me the recipe. I want to make some sauce to take on the trips. And he was a World War II guy. And his response was always, you're not old enough to handle the recipe. I make the sauce, and when you're 21, you can have it.
Right. And he meant that.
He meant it. And he never would give it to me or any of my siblings. We all heard the same thing.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 21, in my birthday card was a 3x5 card with a base recipe on it. That was my birthday gift that year. And so I just started playing with it. I started adding spices to it and minced garlic and just kind of, changed it up from the base recipe. And then for decades, I just give it away as gifts. I put it in a mason jar, give it to friends, bring it to barbecues or whatever. They're like, why aren't you selling this? And I'm like, what's the markup in barbecue sauce? Right. I mean, I don't know anything about it. I just know how to make a batch on the stove, you know?
Yeah, right.
And so before I moved down to North Carolina, Channel 3 hired me to host a home show. I was still doing some TV stuff and commercial stuff. And it's one of those shows, they bring in 5 or 6 different products, and I was the host of the show. And there was a guy named Chris Guerrera who was living here, and he was working with a product, I think it was called the Dust Deputy or something. Like, it went on the hose of your shop vac before the dirt went into the shop vac, and it trapped it on the outside, so you never had to clean out your shop vac.
Okay.
That was the product. So, but we just kind of became friends, and he ended up going up to New Hampshire, and I'm in North Carolina, and he reaches out and he says, you still doing voiceover work? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, can you do an on-hold message for me? Thanks for calling, press 1, press 2. And I'm like, yeah. So I do it, send it to him. He sends me $200. I send him a thank you note with a jar of sauce. Just
hold that thought. We're going to carry over to the next side. Is that all right, Tom?
Yeah, that would be perfect.
All right.
There we go. Stick around because Mike Otis is going to tell the rest of the story about his battle-tested barbecue sauce right here on the local show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Gettys Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
All right, we're back again, ladies and gentlemen. So we've been talking with Mike Otis, and he is a longtime broadcaster in Syracuse, New York, and now down in North Carolina, and he has a product called Battle Tested Barbecue Sauce, and he was in the middle of a story before the break, and we're going to come back and continue with that right now. So I think we left off with...
Chris Guerrera was a guy I met, and he was in New Hampshire, and I sent him a jar of sauce as a thank you.
Right.
So he shares it with this guy who writes for Forbes magazine, who happened to be visiting him. They decide they're going to grill some chicken. So the guy tastes it, and not only does he write for Forbes, but he's put 7 invention products through Shark Tank.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So he tastes it, and he goes, what is this? And he goes, a friend of mine made it and sent it to me. He goes, well, you better tell him to bring it to market. I've never tasted anything like it. So he calls and tells me. And I'm like, you know what? I've heard this for like 3 decades, and I've always wanted to do it. The thought never left. It's always been there.
Yeah.
But I never knew how to do it. And so after he tells me that, I came home and said to my wife, Deirdre, I said, we're going to bring it to market. She goes, great, how? I said, I have no idea. I don't know the first thing about it, but we're probably going to empty bank accounts and run up credit cards, which we did. I mean, I emptied retirement accounts. I emptied savings accounts. I ran up credit cards, and I've just figured, win big, lose big.
Tom does that just at the deli.
Yeah.
I've been known to.
So I just started asking people, and I sent some product out to Howard Rosenthal, Mr. Food, on TV, and he tried it, and So I just kept asking, and there's veteran entrepreneur organizations through like the state of North Carolina or NC State or University of North Carolina or Duke or whatever. They have these programs. And so I went to 5 different ones. I said, I want to start this business. And they're like, what is it? And I said, well, I want to launch a barbecue sauce. And every single one of them said, don't do it. You're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to get into a grocery store. You're not going to make it. You're going to lose all your money. Make it for your friends, but don't do it. And so I did it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Because something in my gut was telling me to do this.
You got to move forward with it. Yeah.
And so I started researching it, trying to figure out how do we scale it? How do I make it? We do 125 gallons at a time.
Did you have the name at that point?
No, I didn't have the name at all. I didn't have a name. I didn't have a product. I didn't have anything.
Right.
And we were going to call it Old Glory Barbecue Sauce, and I spent $3,000 trying to get the trademark for the attorney to say, well, there's an Old Glory barbecue restaurant in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, too close.
And they don't have products on the market, but if they do, they can challenge you. But don't worry, we can fight them. I'm like, I'm not fighting anybody, dude. I just spent $3,000 to find out I don't have a trademark. So I'm literally sitting in church, and I'm sitting there going, okay, God, you got to give me something here. I'm 8 weeks away from this food show that we're going to do.
Yeah.
And that was the launch date, and I got nothing. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I got nothing. And I hear in my head, dummy, I gave it to you. I'm like, well, first off, thanks, Lord, for calling me a dummy. But it's like, dummy, I gave it to you. I'm like, you gave it to me, But I'm thinking. I'm like, 2 years before, we had, at our church in North Carolina, they have a very high-end video production team. And they usually do like these trailers for these sermons that are coming up in weeks ahead.
Sure. Right.
And so there was one that they did. It was like a movie trailer, futuristic, and it was on Ephesians, which is like put on the full armor of God, which is the Bible verse a lot of combat veterans take with them when they go into combat.
Yeah, I see that's on your bottle here.
So I'm sitting there. Well, the name, I did the voiceover. I did my movie trailer voice for it,
right?
You know, and
in a world.
Yeah. So doing that, and I did the read that way, but the series on Ephesians was called Battle Tested.
There she is.
And I went, Battle Tested Barbecue. And I'm like, okay, God's ad agency is better than mine.
Yes.
And then we got the registered trademark for it, which I couldn't even believe was available. And now it's like I've got investors getting ready to jump on board that want to try and make us a national brand.
Yeah.
And we can expand beyond the barbecue sauce. We can do marinades, rubs, beef jerky, potato chips, prepackaged meats, because it all falls under the battle-tested brand.
Well, where can people get it now?
Right now, Tops carries all 4 flavors here in Central New York. Also, Bella Bakery over in Lakeland on State Fair Boulevard. Yeah, sure. They have it. They got the best Half Moon cookies ever.
Yeah, John over there, right?
Yeah,
John Bella?
John Bella.
Yeah, great guy.
And then Maisie's Meats carries us.
Oh, yeah.
Nichols IGA down in Liverpool, and Spira's. So
Sparrows,
that's where Tom spent his IRA, didn't he?
I'm 5 minutes away from Sparrows.
Okay,
spent all my time there.
Yeah, so that's great little store.
It is. Really.
So all those stores carried us in, and Tops was great because 2 years ago I came to them with like, I want to get into a store, and they're like, what is it? You know? And they're asking through River Valley Foods, who handles us,
makes sense,
to go to the store. So like 8 of the 38 stores said, yeah, we'll put it in. And then I talked to the category manager. I said, listen, we got a whole radio campaign coming with this. We're going to blanket the market. And if you got people going into your stores that can't find it, you're going to be disappointing customers. So he said, put it in all the stores. Well, they only got it into 17 that first year.
Yeah.
But we sold 2,000 bottles between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
That's a good start. That's a great start.
In half the stores. So then they opened up the opportunity to get us on the shelf, which we did, and they've been highly supportive. And 5% of our profit from every bottle we sell, we give to Clear Path for veterans here in Central New York.
Wonderful.
And they were just on.
And they were just on.
I
heard the ad. Yeah. So
nice.
My dad always said you can't go through life with catcher mitts on both hands. You got to throw the ball back. And so before we started anything, we knew we were going to do a 5% give back to veteran 501c3s that work with PTSD veterans and help prevent veteran suicide. Now, it's not the best kitchen table topic to talk about.
Right.
I mean, there's dogs for vets, and I mean, there's great organizations out there. But to me, if we can give to an organization that's going to help save a life, to me, that's the place to be. So we started doing it, and in 2.5 years, we were in over 1,000 grocery stores.
Wonderful.
And now we've got, like I said, investors. If any investors out there are interested,
yes, please.
Get battle-testedbbq.com. You can email me directly from there. But
are you in the southern grocery stores like the Kroger's and
I've got a food broker working that, but we're in Food Lion, Harris Teeter, Lowe's Foods.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly.
There we go.
Or as they say down south, you got to be in the pig. Yeah. You in the pig, and I'm like, I don't. What is the pig? I don't know what the pig is.
Tom even know that.
It's like Piggly Wiggly. So
Wiggly.
Yeah, so it's been an adventure for sure, and it's getting bigger than me. And now we're bringing on. I mean, we got a team we're building to.
So you do this full time? You don't do any more broadcast?
Oh, I still have an ad agency.
Oh, you're still doing that?
So
okay,
I'm still
good.
Writing and producing radio and TV commercials.
There's somebody calling you right now for it.
Thanks for shutting off your phone.
I thought I did.
True perfect. Can you imagine if he's doing the weather and his phone goes off?
So the whole show we only have
yelling at me earlier. I thought I shut it off. You made me nervous.
We only have one broadcast professional on, and he's the one who leaves the phone.
I thought I shut it off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've heard that before.
Forgive me. I'm begging for forgiveness here.
No big deal.
So you're excited. I can see the passion and the excitement.
Well, it got to the point where I was like, man, this is getting bigger than me. And it reminds me of the Joker in the Batman movie. It's like, I built this thing, and what do I do with it? It's like all of a sudden it's bigger, but the mission behind it, I think, is solid with the charity give back, and it's an all-natural, gluten-free product. I mean, you can read the ingredient, you can pronounce the ingredients that are in this. You can pronounce them, and
all natural stuff. What is the natural ingredient? I see natural ingredient. What does that mean?
I mean, everything. There's no artificial flavoring. There's no chemical flavoring.
Right.
There's
no MSG.
No, there's no high fructose corn syrup. It's just all natural products.
Soylent Green? No Soylent Green?
No Soylent Green. For those who remember the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's probably the closest thing you'll find to like a homemade barbecue sauce on the shelf.
That's wonderful.
And we've won, last year we were North Carolina Specialty Foods Barbecue Sauce of the Year. We've won first place last 2 years at Pinehurst, where they had the PGA event. Wonderful. They got a big barbecue festival. We've taken first place there.
Battle-tested BBQ, Tom.
All right. Hey, great to see you, Mike. And
I appreciate the time with you guys. I really do.
Thank you so much. We'll keep pushing it up here.
I appreciate that. And take some sauce home with you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Dr. Richard Malera is coming up next. He's the owner of Malera Eye Care and Eyewear. Keep it right here on 570 WSYR 106.9 FM.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Gettys Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Back into it and back at it. Welcome to The Local Show, and thank you for joining us. We just want you to know we appreciate you listening to us and watching us on YouTube, because that YouTube thing is really fun.
I see that YouTube folks can see the barbecue sauce you've pried really close to you. You're not going to let that. You're not going to let me steal that.
This battle test.
I can see that's
what a theme today. We had this, and then we had Clear Path for Veterans. We're bringing in that brisket. I'd like to dump this on the brisket.
Yes, I'm not gonna. Hope my doctor doesn't see the show. She'll yell at me and say, "What are you doing?"
That's right. Well, this is all natural stuff too.
Sure, it is, Tom.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, so Safe Harbor Wills and Trust. I heard something over the weekend. Somebody told me that they had a camp and they lost the camp to long-term care. And I said, boy, you got to talk to our friends.
Well, hey, right home. I mean, years ago, my mom and dad put the camp. The dad rebuilt up in Henderson Harbor, put it into a trust.
Very nice.
And that is safe from long-term care. Mom's 90 now. That is safe. We lost dad a few years ago. That is safe from long-term care. And it's protected, but that's true of the house. That's true of anything. People say, "Well, I got a will." Well, all right, but if you haven't protected it, or maybe you should just look at the will. Safe Harbor Wills and Trust. That's all they do, and you can really.
And if you just have questions, right?
Yeah, you can go over to safeharborwillsandtrust.com, 370-9977. Start a conversation. You can call them, ask questions. They're not going to charge you to ask questions, but if you need something done, those folks can do it for you, Tom.
Excellent. Well, it's our pleasure to bring back on to the show Dr. Richard Malera. He's the owner of the owner.
It's easy for you to say, Tom.
Well, I have a typo on my sheet, and I have owner of owner. So, you know, talk about reading. So, owner of Malera Eye Care and Eye Spa. Now, that name changed, Doctor, didn't it?
We adjusted it a little bit, yes.
Yeah, and why is that?
Well, we're trying to reach an audience that is more. Everybody has issues with some form of dryness with their eyes.
Oh yeah,
and,
especially this year.
You know, it's one of those things that a lot of people deal with, and one of the things that we are investing in is more technology that helps people overcome dryness. You know, dryness. You know, when we think about it, is a discomfort, and so when we think of a spa, we think of something that's very soothing, something that's very oriented towards making a person feel better when they leave, and that's what the technology is that we've invested in. It does for the dryness.
So how does that manifest? So how do I feel? I come to you, and I do an eye spa thing, and I leave. What changes?
Well, you're dealing with a chronic condition that is most likely something that gets worse during certain times of the year. So allergies, anything that disrupts the tear film is going to cause the eyes to feel less comfortable.
Is that dry eye?
Is that
dry eye?
What's the technical term for it?
It's still dry eye.
Oh,
so,
I was waiting for some Latin term to come up.
In some circles, it's called meibomian gland dysfunction.
I was going to say
like that.
Yeah. So it's the thing that makes your eyes feel dry, scratchy, almost a little sandy or gritty. Maybe your eyes get a little bit red or irritated pretty quickly when you're sitting down at the computer. After you've been reading for a while, you're blinking less, your eyes get uncomfortable because the tear film's not being reproduced and refreshed on a regular basis. And so that disrupts the whole surface of the eye.
And you can take care of all that now over there.
Correct.
I was moments away from calling you several weeks ago because I had the worst sty of my life. And my doctor said, you got to go to an eye doctor. And I said, who do we know? Oh, Dr. Malera. And I almost came to you because it was so bad in the corner of my eye and so painful. What causes that? It came out of nowhere.
It is one of those meibomian glands that gets blocked and unable to allow its secretion into the tear film. So,
I see.
Yeah, a sty is the fancy name for that is either a hordeolum or a chalazion, depending on how long it's been there. So, but yeah, heat. I don't know if they put you on an antibiotic.
Finally, an antibiotic, and it cleared up in a couple of days. But it was over a week that this thing hung on. It was
they
pretty
can
bad.
linger. They can be.
And it was painful. But so, other than a sty or something like that, why do people come to see you in your practice?
Well, they're looking for comprehensive care. They're looking for someone who can not only provide an accurate, thorough exam with an accurate prescription, but they're looking for someone who is genuinely interested in a long-term relationship, who wants someone who cares, who's committed to their eye health and all eye care for their whole family. So it's start to finish. Everything that we do is geared towards making sure that we're in it for the long haul and we're caring for the people in the community in a way that's meaningful to them, trying to meet the needs that are specific to their visit to us.
Now, there's some people that just can't wear contact lenses because I'm going to my youngest son, he'd get it in and he'd come out and he just, I don't know the whole thing. I don't know that he just didn't press through the pain or what, but are there some people that just doesn't work for?
It's pretty rare that some form of a contact lens can't be found. Oftentimes it's just making sure that the curvature matches the curvature of the eye, that the type of lens that's being put on is appropriate for the person who is wearing them. Different water contents, different sizes, different curvatures, all of that comes into play in properly fitting a contact lens.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so you do all kinds of glasses. What's the most popular glasses frame now? Like, is there a particular style?
Are they branded or is it more functional?
Yeah. Is it for function or for style?
It's for both. We cover the lines all the way from, value-oriented, high quality,
like Steve,
lower
yes,
cost,
value-oriented,
to, the name brands that are out there that, have a little bit more
carry some weight like.
Well, they're just geared towards people that want to wear a frame that has a name on it. Right. There's all kinds of stuff out there, but the ones that are big in the industry are certainly ones that we hope to carry as well. And
right.
Like Oakley, Maui Jim.
Okay.
We've added some new lines that help us to reach out to more consumers who are looking for higher quality products.
Right.
Carry longer warranties.
Do you still blow air into people's eyes? That whole thing that I always hated. That I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Well, what was that glaucoma or something else? What was that?
That's a test for glaucoma. That is correct. Pressure inside the eyes is undetected unless it's measured. And so one of the old measurements, technically you have to have at least 3 measurements with an air puff because the eye pressure has a pulse. And so there's a wave to it, and you don't want to catch 2 peaks and miss the trough. So
right.
You want to get an accurate average. We don't do air puffs anymore. There's newer technology, better technology that
well, there you go, Steve.
Doesn't require you to flinch when you jump out of the chair.
Right, yeah.
So really quickly, how many times a year should people get their eyes checked?
At a minimum once, more so if there's a family history of things like glaucoma, macular degeneration, and those sorts of
diabetes.
At least once a year. If it's controlled, if it's not controlled, then we see them more than once a year.
So you're in Fayetteville and you're in Liverpool, drmalera.com. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Thank you, Doctor.
Excellent. Thank you, Doctor, very much. We appreciate all you do. All right, Steve, that's going to wrap things up. And it's a fishing weekend. Let's
yes.
get out there, man. That's
Indeed.
awesome.
I'm all in.
All right. On behalf of the local show, Zoey Advertising, and Tom and Steve, God bless you and your families. Take a walk today and every day with a friend or family member. Keeps the weight down and the mind clear. The local show is heard every Saturday morning from 11 to 1 and again on Sunday morning from 7 to 9. Listen together with a friend. Until next week, get down to business and keep doing business locally. Tell your friends about the local show right here on 570 WSYR, 106.9 FM, the iHeartRadio app, and on YouTube at Zoey Advertising 3809.